That's why Swami Vivekananda says, I worship that God who by the ignorant is called man. I worship that God who is ignorantly called by others as man. So it is God in man, God in divine, the divinity in human beings that we are trying to say. For us, the social service is one of the important ways of spiritualizing our social service and allowing us to go for our spiritual goal. That's why Swamiji gave the mandate, Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha. That is the mantra he gave to all the monks and all the followers of Sri Ramakrishna Mission. What is that? Atmano Mokshartham. Yes, we must have enlightenment. Atmano Mokshartham. We must develop our own personality. We must have our own character building. But that does not mean we become self-centered. That purity, that unselfishness, that character building should then result in serving others. And serving others by thinking them as manifestation of the divine will be the best way of developing your total personality. So it's a spiritual practice.
Lokesh and Hiral from Kutch, Gujarat have asked a question together. Anger management and control, please give some guidelines to Pravajika Shuddhatma Pranaji.
If your desire is thwarted, then you become angry. So when this anger starts arising, you have to think, what is it that I have, that what desire is it in my mind that is being thwarted, and that why am I getting this anger? Because of the desire. So suppose someone insults you. Your ego is being affected. Then you can think, what is this ego? It's nothing. It's the divine is within me. The ego is nothing. So you can, in that way, you can control any kind of insult to you. Or suppose someone does something that you don't like. Then you think, well, why is it that I don't like this? Is it something that really affects me? Or is it something out, someone's not doing their work properly? Then do I take this personally? Or is it something that's going to affect me personally? Then why should I get angry about it? In this way, you can think about, you have to get the strength within you. As Swami Atmarupananda said, think of who you are. Get the strength, feel the strength of the Atman within you. Continually meditate on that. Then calmness will come within you. And as calmness comes within you, as your own ego subsides, then the anger becomes less. You have to remember each time when you start getting angry, what is it that I desire that this is affecting me? The anger means a desire, and what is that desire? Is it really important? If it's not important, then why be angry?
Question to Reverend Swami Sarvasthanji. People who take sannyasa, how do they live their life? Like, what do they eat and how? Chinmay Shah.
I hope Chinmay knows the holy traditions of sannyasa. It is very well known. Indians don't require further explanations as far as the methodology is concerned. But I will speak something about the uniqueness of Ramakrishna Mission monks. That would be more interesting. Because Swamiji, though he was very traditional in his approach, he introduced, as Nikhileshwaranji told you very clearly, service of God in man. That was introduced for the first time. Traditional sannyasins are not supposed to be involved directly in social life. That's why the traditional idea was to leave the world. As soon as you embrace monasticism, you're supposed to go meditate, go into the forest. But Swamiji said, my purpose of my coming, or maybe the main mission of my life, is to bring this sannyasa, the spirit of sannyasa, into day-to-day life, so that they can solve the problems of life. And that he did by giving a motto of the Ramakrishna Mission, which is Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitayacha. It is a Sanskrit phrase which means for one's own liberation. That is the traditional goal of sannyasa. Because to solve all the problems of life permanently, moksha is the only way. That is the solution found by our ancestors, and that is the only solution. Whether it is Buddha, whether it is Jesus Christ, or any other prophet of the world, the only solution to the misery of the world is to get rid of ignorance and being free from all the worldly things which are pressing us down, which are trying to make us, which result in suffering. But Swamiji's way of getting out of misery, of this trying to attain freedom, the goal of sannyasa, which is the goal of sannyasa, moksha, is through serving the same God which we worship within our heart, trying to see Him in every human being, and service. That is the mantra which he got from his Guru Sri Ramakrishna. When Sri Ramakrishna said, don't pity, when they were speaking of compassion, the typical Vaishnava compassion, he said, who are you to show compassion to human beings? If you get that opportunity, try to serve Him as God Himself. And in the process, what will happen is, you will try to attain the goal of life. You will be free from, try to serve them as God, not as human beings, not as just social service. So the idea was, the whole goal of our life, that's why we run so many colleges, so many activities which are supposed to be secular. Because for Swamiji, there is nothing secular, everything is sacred. He tried to bridge the gap between secular and sacred, which our tradition did for centuries. That's why he said India suffered from so much misery. There was so much misery, people were trying for salvation. He said, for the salvation of a few hundred monks, should millions of people suffer? So that is the great feeling he had, and that he got from his Guru, Sri Ramakrishna, who said, but why not serve? He said, if I get an opportunity, I'll broadcast this great truth, service of God in man. That is what is motivating our Ramakrishna Mission monks, and the new path which Swami Vivekananda has shown through the traditional monasticism. The ideals are not compromised with, but at the same time the method changes. We try to serve that same God which we worship maybe in isolation, in meditation in the caves, or maybe in temples, but the same God we try to worship with different upakaranas. For example, somebody is serving a patient. There is one Swami of our order. I'll give you that example. His Guru told him to just dress the patients in Banaras. His name is Swami Muktananda, one Bihari Maharaj. The only seva, or the only sadhana which he did, normally you are supposed to get a mantra from the Guru and do different types of sadhana, but the sadhana which his Guru advised him was to dress the wounds of all the patients. Many of them were lepers. It's a very, very difficult job to do, and he did it for 74 years of his life. Throughout his life in Banaras Sevashram, you could see that monk. His name was Swami Muktananda. He passed away a few years ago. He did this work, and through that seva, saying the Narayana in Nara, he attained to liberation. So that is the greatness of the uniqueness of our sannyasa, and as it is practiced in different ways. There may be scholars who may be using education as a worship, trying to serve the students as gods themselves. Maybe if you are doctors, you serve the patients as gods themselves. That is what we are trying to do, and that is how we are trying to lead our life. As far as dress is concerned, that's a trivial question. We of course use the same monastic tradition, there is Viraja Homa and so many other things associated with traditional monasticism. Only the orientation has been changed by Swamiji in a very significant way, so that it can contribute to the welfare of the people as well as one's own welfare. Thank you.
Question to Reverend Swami Atmarupanji. How can we spread Swami Vivekananda's message to other youths in America if they turn a blind eye to Hinduism? By Kanchan Railkar.
Okay, very good question. First of all, we have to realize that we can't turn people's minds to the truth unless they want to have their minds turned towards the truth. That's a great mistake that's been made by some religions in the world. The idea that we have to go out and save people, and whether they want saving or not, it's our duty to make sure that they are saved, and so let's go do everything we can to badger them into accepting salvation. That we can't do. It doesn't work. And so the first thing we have to realize is that there's some people who want higher things. There's some people who don't yet want it. Of course, the Vedantic, the Hindu standpoint is that everybody eventually will. Everybody eventually will. And so we don't have to worry that it's a matter of this life, everyone coming to spirituality or never coming to spirituality. No, eventually everyone will. So the first part of the question, the first foundational idea is to know that we can't force religion on anyone. It's impossible. You can try, and you'll only do harm to the other person, and you'll do harm to yourself as well, and great harm to your tradition by becoming fanatical. So that's the first idea. The second idea is that being said, it's also true that sometimes the ideas of Swamiji may not spread as well as they could because we're not speaking them in ways that people can understand them. And so we always have to take some responsibility on ourselves, not for saving people. That we can't do. That's not in our hands. At least the Americans here will understand the slang. To channel Sam, that's not your problem. It's not your problem to save other people. But we do have to take responsibility for the way that we present truth. Swami Vivekananda himself said that not everyone will care for myself, that is Vivekananda, or for Sri Ramakrishna. That inspiration comes through many channels into the world, and people have to be able to choose their channel of inspiration for themselves. At the same time, we have to see, am I presenting Swami Vivekananda, and am I presenting his ideas in a way that people can accept? Those who would like to accept, those who would accept if they could hear it in the right way. And so that we always have to think as well. So let us all, one of the wonderful things that I've seen in this conference, through the different speakers, through the youth, you who have come, is the wonderful ways in which Swami Vivekananda's message is manifesting in so many different fields, in so many different ways. And so that there's an infinite field in front of us. As I said yesterday, Swami Vivekananda didn't close doors. He didn't give answers to questions in the sense that now you don't have to think about it anymore because the answer has been nailed down. No, he opened doors. He removed barriers. He opened whole fields of knowledge. And so there's an infinite variety of ways that we can approach Swami Vivekananda's teachings. So the more ways that we can manifest his teachings in our own lives, the more ways that we can present his teachings, then the more people will be able to accept his teachings.